One bathroom. 14 kids, one bathroom. I've got 3 teenage sons at home. We've got 2 bathrooms in my house, and mornings getting ready for school are miserable. Imagine 14 kids. Nobody had to go out and find an outhouse. Think about this. This is Florida. We've got alligators. We've got poisonous snakes. We've got humidity. We've got mosquitoes. We've got red ants on the ground. You got to come out and find an outhouse in the dark of night? No, thank you. So they were happy with their one indoor bathroom. The Wardens used this house every winter for their vacations till 1924. 1925, they didn't show up here. The city had to take over the building. The Wardens abandoned their grandfather's home. City took it over, used it for a couple of things, and by 1939, the city had plans to tear this building down. But at the last minute, this building was rescued by an author from Florida, actually rescued by her husband. The author was Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings. She was a Pulitzer Prize winner. She won a prize for writing a book called The Yearling. Well, she had visited St. Augustine. You got tickets for one? Welcome aboard. Come on. Yep. So she convinced her husband that this would make a great hotel. So they bought it, turned it into a boutique-style hotel, and ran their hotel through the 1940s. And that's finally when the R on my shirt showed up. The R stands for Robert. The R stands for Ripley. But my boss was too cheap to embroider 2 R's on my shirt, so I got 1 R. Robert Ripley, really cool guy. Here's the deal. He was a world traveler. He would travel around the world, and he would share his travels by writing a newspaper comic called Ripley's Believe It or Not, and he syndicated across the country. Well, he also became a collector while he traveled. He collected the odd, the unusual, the creepy, and unusual information like weird worlds, records, and things like that. So Mr. Ripley traveled around collecting all of his oddities, like a drum where the skin of the drum was made from actual human skin, shrunken heads, a candle where the wax of the candle was made from the fat of a dead monk, and all this other cool stuff. Well, he saw this building and he thought, man, I've been showing everybody my stuff. I'd like to open a permanent museum. And he thought this building, when he stayed here in the 40s, would be the perfect location to do that. So he asked the owners if they would sell him their hotel, and they said no. But Mr. Ripley was a persistent man. He asked a second time. And the second time he asked to buy this building for his museum, they told him no. He was downright stubborn. He asked a third time. And the third time he asked to buy this, they said yes, after you die. Was that dramatic enough?
Yeah.
It's not true. I added that in. They said yes, that he could buy it. He got in negotiations to purchase it, but his heart decided it would be after he died. While he was negotiating to buy this place in 1949, he had a heart attack and passed away. His estate, though, did continue the purchase and turned this into the first permanent location of a Ripley's Believe It or Not auditorium. Now we've got Ripley's all over the place. You can visit Ripley's in Miami and Niagara Falls and all these other places. I found my first Ripley's by accident on my honeymoon. We got married on Prince Edward Island in Canada, and the day after the wedding, we were looking for a place to eat lunch. We found a Ripley's Museum before we found a restaurant. We went in. My new bride was so creeped out by some of the stuff we saw in that museum, I didn't get lunch that day till almost 4:30 in the afternoon. Thank you very much, Ripley's. But I've survived. I'm doing fine. We eat well in my house.
Doing great.
So that was my first Ripley's experience. Maybe this one will be your first if you know. It's a fantastic museum. It's not just gross creepy stuff. Don't think that you're going to go in there and just be grossed out. There's really cool artwork. Mr. Ripley collected artwork, and since his death, we, the company, have continued to collect interesting and unusual things. There's an Elvis portrait in this building. You just heard Elvis singing while the train was loading up, right? There's an Elvis portrait in here made completely out of different types of candy. So we got the king of candy, right? And lots of other cool stuff. Anybody a fan of the TV show The Walking Dead? There's 2 characters on that show named Daryl and Michonne, and we recently added their portraits to this museum. Their portraits were painted using barbecue sauce. So it's a pretty cool place to check out. So that's where we're going to start our tour in just a couple of minutes. I think that's it. I think away we go, right? Oh, wait. The safety reminders. You just got to remember one word, and you know both of my safety reminders. That one word is restaurants. We all good?
Yeah.
Sir, you look confused. So do they. How years? I know down in Cuba you've got places older than this, but for here in the continental United States, we are the oldest permanently settled city. So we take some great pride in that. I'm going to teach you all about our town. And in fact, you're going to see some things similar to what you see in some small towns in Cuba. Churches and small bells. Henry said, I got two reasons. One, I'm Presbyterian, but I love the sound of the Catholic Church's bell down in town, and I don't want these other bells all being installed and disturbing the sound of that pretty sounding Catholic Church bell. Second, I'm about to open my luxury resort hotel. That's the reason for this interview. And I don't want those church bells waking up my hotel guests on a Sunday morning if they decide to skip church. So these churches to have bells? He wanted them all to win the Nobel Prize. So
Second building built in the US using poured concrete.
We'll never hear the sound of a bell from that church. Henry Flagler built their church with a bell tower and then made the Methodists sign an agreement promising never to install a bell in their bell tower. Building everything else had to be built on the streets that came off the plaza, and the streets that came off the plaza were required to be very narrow, because the Spanish knew that narrow streets meant the buildings would be close together, and they knew the buildings close together would grab that breeze, change its pressure, and whip it around the middle of town. There's almost always a breeze coming off the Atlantic Ocean here. So Spain built all their cities throughout Cuba, Central America, Puerto Rico, parts of South America, with narrow streets for that same reason, to take advantage of sea breezes and cool the town. And we're going to make a right turn onto one of those narrow colonial streets in just a moment. Let these folks cross. This is Hippolyta Street we're turning onto right here. You're going to start seeing some of those restaurants that I told you about in my safety reminders. Lots of them do have outdoor seating like this where you can take advantage of those sea breezes. And it is Saturday, so late this afternoon and into this evening, you'll probably start hearing live music coming from some of these little outdoor restaurants. Looked at me and don't feel like lying today. And if you did not enjoy my tour, then I need you to do me a special favor. I need you to write me a review and remember that my name is Felicia. By the way, when you get up out of your seat, and nobody stands up till I ring the bell, when you get up out of your seat, check for your valuables, because I don't feel like selling your cell phone and glasses on eBay. Don't stand up till I ring the bell. And your children are also valuable. Do not leave them on my train. I've already got 3 teenagers of my own. I will find where you live and return yours to you folks. Don't stand up till I ring the bell. Don't stand up, don't stand up, don't stand up, don't stand up, don't stand up. Oh, I'm supposed to ring the bell. That's right. All right, now you can hop off the train. If you got any last minute questions, come on up and ask me before you walk away. And thanks for riding with me. Thanks for riding with Ripley's Red Train. I love my city, and I love sharing it with you.